Hey guys, and welcome to part 1 of the children's book series. So in this video, we are going to be discussing book layout and then pagination using the manuscript for the actual book, Cinderella. And I'm going to show you guys how I break that down and lay everything out. So let's go ahead and get started. So I started this project by looking at some reference material. I got some children's books from the library and I pulled out a couple from my own collection. And this was just to sort of kick off, inspiration and to refresh some of the things I need to know about children's book layout. And so yeah, they're a great resource and it's a free resource, so go to the library and get a stack so you can reference them in case you get stuck somewhere or just need to have that physical example. One thing I do want to talk about is the fact that Cinderabella is printed as a softcover perfect bound book. It is not a hardcover. There are just some slight differences in how you would normally, structure a hardcover book versus a softcover. And most of it is just the fact that the type of binding that a softcover book is a perfect bound type of binding. And so you have a little more freedom with like the page count, I guess. But we are making a children's book. And a typical children's book, it's a hardcover. They have a 32 page to 40 page normal range of page count, literally the physical way these books are bound. You would need your pages to be a multiple of 8. I'm going to continue to abide by those rules, even though this book is a perfect bound book, and you could have a little more freedom with that. And another example of something that is, in the nature and structure of a hardcover children's book would be end pages. And that's what these are in the beginning of the book. They're literally part of the hardcover structure. Whether or not you decide to put an illustrated pattern on there is up to you. Some people just leave them as colored pages. Regardless, it's not necessary for a perfect bound children's book. Before we jump into the manuscript, I'm just going to quickly go over the 3 different layouts of illustrations within children's books. This is a single page illustration. It only consumes one side of the spread. And then you have your spot illustrations, which are smaller. They don't take up a whole page. These are actually really helpful when you're trying to condense your story to your page count. And we'll talk about that more when we get into the manuscript. But definitely if you have a sentence that describes several actions or there are several different scenes and you can't afford to illustrate every single thing, you use spot illustrations to kind of help with that. And finally, you have the full spread illustration, going from one page to the other, full illustration. The only problem I have with these is the gutter. Sometimes dealing with that's annoying because whatever you put in that center portion of the book will probably get eaten away a little bit. But anyway, I just wanted to pop in here and talk about those real quick before we get into putting the entire structure of the book together. So that way when I say I need a spread here versus a spot versus a single page, you know what I'm talking about. So an essential thing to starting a project like this, and this might sound kind of obvious, is to have the manuscript from your author ready to go. It doesn't have to be the absolute final manuscript. I mean, you don't really want them changing the story, but some small edits are normal. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys how I tackle all of this. So your manuscript might look something like this, might not, something very similar, hopefully. This is the entire story from beginning to end, and the author also included some art direction notes for me. So you're going to take your manuscript and start breaking up the sentences and regrouping them together. Now, once you get to the end, you're going to go back and start assigning pages. And this is where a lot of the restructuring starts to happen, because as I was going through this, I realized I had way too many pages and had to go back and reorganize things. Like I said, I'm trying to keep it within the standard 32 to 40 page count for a children's book. Okay, so you can see here I've gone through and I've numbered all the pages. This section here is one of those situations where there's a lot happening in the same scene, and that's where I had to utilize those spot illustrations to sort of make it all come together without having to go over my page count. And you'll see that when we actually start thumbnailing everything out, you'll see where I did that. So right here is where you see me correct where the story actually starts, while including the end pages, the publication, title page, everything page-wise that goes into this book. And then I'm just going to go ahead and shift everything down. And this is now, I guess it says on the top, it's 39 illustrated pages, 40 pages total. But that kind of changed a bit because I ended up adding end pages to this book layout. And so that shifted things a little bit at the bottom, and that blank with the barcode, I ended up excluding from the format. I don't really remember why. I should have just kept it in, but it did print in the book, and I'll show you that later. So in addition to the manuscript with all the sentences that I'm rearranging, I also like to have this open. I kind of just created a template of the book that I'm illustrating with the number of pages laid out as spreads. And over here, I'll just doodle or set up the illustrations and the pages so I can have a visual representation, not just the text that I'm looking at. And that's really helpful in tying it all together. And so now that I have this open, I think it's a great time to talk about the non-story pages that are also a part of this layout. So we already discussed the end page situation a bit. It's part of the hardcover structure. It's not necessary for our softcover book. And at the time when I was filming this particular footage, I didn't know if I was going to actually do end pages for the book. Jessica kind of left it up to me. So that's why I'm writing it's an end/blank page for this very first page that we have going into the structure. And then there are a couple other pages that I'm going to give examples of real quick. So you can have a title page/publication page. They can be completely separate or they can kind of be combined. Kind of just depends how you want to structure the book. But that would be page 2 and page 3. So we got the publication page and the title page. And I'm going to just show you how this relates to a physical book. And in this video, I actually just do a doodle of it. But I can show you the actual book, Cinderella, to display that as well. But at the time, I didn't have the book finished, obviously. So I just did this little doodle. Okay, so this first page here is actually the interior cover that I'm drawing. And then this page is technically page 1. And then we're going to have all the other pages on the side over here. And so that interior cover, in our case with the soft cover book, is going to be blank. It doesn't have to be, but in our case we just left it blank. And we could have had the first page also be a blank page, but like I said, we decided to just do the end page anyway, even though it's not necessary to the structure like it would be for a hardcover. So just to show as a spread as well, when you turn that page, you're going to land on, of course, the spread opening to page 2 and to page 3, the publication page and title page. And it doesn't have to be laid out exactly like this. If you go through other children's books for reference, you can see there's different ways to handle non-story pages. And it's all kind of goes back to how many pages you're trying to work with. But if you really wanted to, I guess you could put the publication and title page on the same page and start your story on page 3. But I'm not doing that. I would rather start my story on a spread in this case. So I just left those as separate pages. But this, of course, means my story starts on page 4. And then I just go ahead and start numbering all my pages. That way they line up with the pages I have in the manuscript, and I know what text is supposed to go in what spread. And yeah, I just go back and forth, like I said, between the two, doing doodles and rearranging things if I need to. So I end up with my final layout for the book. Okay, just for example, we're going to look at the physical book too. And just see the actual layout played out physically. So opening to the interior blank cover with that end page as page 1, And then we got publication page and title pages 2 and 3. And then this kind of just gets mirrored in the end of the book with more end pages. And then we also, of course, have that random white page I was also talking about with the barcode. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. Alright, so that about wraps it up for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. In our next video, we're going to be doing some drawing and we're going to work on some character designs and thumbnailing. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed to my channel. I know consistency is not my strength in this channel. Clearly, the last video I put out here was last year. But there were reasons for that, so I'm never gonna stop trying to make YouTube a more regular thing in my life, because it's really the only way right now that I share my artwork, because I really don't like Instagram. But anyway, thanks again for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye.